Have you ever felt that strange tension, the kind that hits you in the chest when a woman texts you with warmth, excitement, and playful energy, but the moment you suggest meeting up, everything shifts like a cold wind blowing through a doorway you didn't know was open? Have you ever caught yourself staring at your phone, wondering why someone who seems so eager to talk to you suddenly becomes distant, hesitant, or busy every time you try to bring the connection into the real world? And here's the real question you need to ask yourself right now. If her words feel so close, why does her presence stay so far? That question hits immediately because it forces you to confront something most men avoid: the possibility that she's not talking to you because she wants you, but because she wants the attention, the comfort, the emotional warmth you provide from a safe distance where she never has to give anything back. And while you're there analyzing her punctuation, interpreting every emoji, and convincing yourself that you're building something meaningful, you're actually being pulled into a psychological imbalance where she receives validation on tap while avoiding the responsibility of showing up for you in real life. This is the invisible battlefield where so many good men lose themselves, confusing digital affection for genuine effort, mistaking frequent messages for real desire, and believing her excuses because the alternative hurts too much to admit. But today, you step out of the illusion. Today, you're going to understand the dark psychology behind why she keeps you close enough to text, but far enough to never commit. And before we dive deeper, do one powerful thing for yourself. Drop a comment saying, "I choose self-respect," because that's the backbone of Stoic strength. And while you're here, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to become a Stoic soldier. Now, let's uncover the first truth behind why she clings to the screen but avoids the reality of you. It's wild how easy it is to mistake texting for connection, especially when you're talking to a woman who knows exactly how to make you feel seen through a screen. She sends the good morning messages, the long paragraphs, the cute photos, the playful replies that hit your dopamine like a warm rush. And somewhere along the line, without even noticing it, you start to feel like you've built something real with her. As if every message exchanged is another brick in a foundation only the two of you understand. But here's the painful truth most men don't want to admit. Texting is the easiest version of herself she can give you. It doesn't require presence. It doesn't require effort. It doesn't require vulnerability. All it requires is her thumbs and a few seconds of attention when she's bored, lonely, or craving validation. And while you're there pouring in thought, intention, energy, and emotion, she's giving you something that feels meaningful but costs her almost nothing. That's the illusion, thinking that attention equals interest, or that consistent messages equal genuine desire. You're building castles out of pixels while she's simply passing time, enjoying just enough closeness to feel adored, but not enough responsibility to actually show up. And the worst part? You start filling in the emotional gaps yourself. You create the story. You build the meaning. You take her tiny breadcrumbs and turn them into a full-course meal in your mind. But texting is not connection. It's a shadow of connection, a whisper of something that never fully forms. And the moment you try to turn that whisper into reality, the illusion breaks, because she never intended to match the level of intimacy you were feeling. And that's where men get hurt, believing the digital version of her was the real her. But Stoic wisdom starts with truth. Words on a screen can warm you, entertain you, and comfort you, but they are not proof of commitment. Now, let's move into the next layer of this psychology: why she chooses distance even when she pretends she wants closeness. There's something you need to understand about why she feels so comfortable staying behind the screen. Distance protects her from accountability, vulnerability, and the risk of disappointing you. When she texts you, she gets to control every part of the interaction: how she sounds, what she says, when she replies, and how emotionally open she chooses to be. She can type something sweet, delete it, rewrite it, soften it, polish it, and send a version of herself that feels safe, attractive, and effortless. But real life exposes everything she can hide through a phone. Her energy, her body language, her inconsistencies, her fears, her uncertainty. Meeting in person requires presence, something she's not ready to give, not willing to give, or never intended to give. And for many women, texting becomes a cozy emotional blanket, warm enough to feel wanted, distant enough to avoid risk. She gets to feel admired without having to face the pressure of actually being who she pretends to be in your conversations. She gets affection without responsibility, closeness without commitment, attention without effort. In that space, she feels in control because she can keep you orbiting her life without ever stepping into yours. And while you're thinking you've discovered something rare, emotional, and intimate, she's simply enjoying the comfort of a connection that never demands anything real from her. And what hurts even more, she knows you'll stay as long as she keeps giving you just enough flirting, just enough interest, just enough emotion to keep you hooked on the possibility of something she never plans to fully pursue. But a Stoic man sees this for what it is, a safe distance for her and a draining limbo for you. And once you understand this dynamic, you stop taking her mixed signals personally and start seeing the truth behind her pattern. Now let's move into the next layer, the hidden power imbalance she uses to keep you exactly where she wants you. What most men don't realize is that texting gives her a subtle kind of power, one she would lose the moment she had to face you in person. Through a screen, she gets to decide everything. When the interaction begins, when it ends, how deep it goes, and how much access you get. She can reply instantly when she wants attention, and vanish for hours when she wants to remind you she's in control. She can send a flirty message that pulls you in close, then disappear long enough for you to question yourself. She creates a rhythm where you're always the one hoping, waiting, investing, and reacting, while she simply chooses from moment to moment how much of her presence she wants to give. And here's what stings the most. Texting lets her take without giving. She takes your compliments, your reassurance, your emotional support, your time, your interest, your desire. She gets fed without ever having to feed you back. She benefits from your consistency, even though she offers you inconsistency. And the entire time, you're thinking she's just shy or busy or overwhelmed, when really she's maintaining a deliberate imbalance. She keeps the connection alive enough to hold your attention, but weak enough that she never owes you anything real. And the truth is, she likes it this way. She likes that you show up on time emotionally while she shows up whenever it's convenient. She likes that she can lean on you whenever she feels bored, lonely, or insecure, knowing you'll respond, knowing you'll engage, knowing you'll keep giving energy into something she only half invests in. But a Stoic man sees the imbalance for what it is: control disguised as affection. This isn't partnership. It's emotional freeloading. And once you recognize that dynamic, the spell breaks. Because you finally understand, she's not keeping her distance by accident. She's maintaining a power structure that benefits her. Now let's go deeper into the psychology behind it, why she's avoiding real connection in the first place. When a woman loves the rush of texting you but avoids seeing you in person, it's not random. It comes from a deeper psychological pattern that most men never notice because they're too focused on how good the messages feel. Some women avoid real connection because they're terrified of being seen for who they truly are. Through a screen, she can curate the perfect version of herself, confident, flirty, fun, composed. But in person, she fears being exposed as insecure, unsure, anxious, or simply uninterested. Other women keep everything digital because they crave validation more than they crave a real bond. Texting you gives her a cheap hit of approval, your attention, your compliments, your energy. It boosts her self-esteem, fills her boredom, quiets her loneliness. But meeting you face to face, that requires effort, vulnerability, and a level of authenticity she never intended to give. And then there are the women who treat you like a safety net. They keep you close because it feels good to know someone wants them. But they keep you at a distance because they want the freedom to explore other options. You become the emotional backup plan, the man she runs to when her day is empty, when her ego needs reassurance, when she wants to feel chosen without having to choose. And here's the hardest truth to swallow. Sometimes she avoids meeting because she never felt enough attraction in the first place. She likes the attention, not the connection. She likes the idea of you, not the reality of you. But instead of letting you go, she strings you along with sweet messages so she never loses the emotional comfort you provide. It's a painful dynamic, but a common one. And until you understand this psychology, you'll keep thinking you did something wrong, when really, she's the one benefiting from staying hidden behind the screen. A Stoic man sees this clearly. Avoidance is not affection. Distance is not desire. Effort, real, tangible effort, is the only true measure of interest. Now let's move into the turning point of the entire video. What a dark Stoic man realizes in situations like this. There comes a moment, a quiet, unmistakable moment, when everything clicks in the mind of a Stoic man. It's when he finally steps back from the emotional fog, looks at the situation without fantasy, and realizes something powerful. You can't force someone to meet you where they aren't willing to show up. And that realization doesn't come with anger. It comes with clarity. You start to see that her constant texting was never a promise. It was a distraction. Her sweet words were comfort, not commitment. Her late-night conversations were a way to feel adored, not a sign she was ready to let you into her real life. And instead of feeling hurt, something inside you goes still, calm, almost cold, because you finally understand the difference between what she says and what she actually does. A dark Stoic man doesn't chase effort that isn't matched. He doesn't cling to potential. He doesn't build fantasies around what could be. He observes, he evaluates, and then he adapts. You realize that her distance isn't a mystery, it's a message. Her lack of action is the answer you've been trying to decode. And in that moment, you reclaim your power. You stop trying to get her to see your worth. You stop trying to fix the vibe. You stop trying to earn something she was never planning to give. Instead, you shift inward. You pull your energy back. You reconnect with your values, your purpose, your standards. Because Stoicism teaches you one truth that ends so much unnecessary suffering. You are not owed closeness just because someone enjoys your attention. And once you truly accept that, you stop walking toward people who only meet you halfway through a screen. You stop feeding illusions. You stop waiting for effort that never arrives. And your silence becomes the beginning of something she never expected, your liberation from her grip. Now let's move into the next section, where your silence begins to speak louder than any message you could ever send. There is a shift she never sees coming, because she's so used to you being available, responsive, steady, and present, that she assumes your attention is infinite. She assumes you'll always be there to reply, to comfort, to entertain, to reassure. But the moment you pull back, the moment your messages slow down, the moment you stop feeding the connection she depended on without ever respecting, everything inside her jolts awake. Your silence becomes a mirror that forces her to face the truth she was avoiding. She never expected you to stop pouring into her. She never expected you to pause the emotional support she took for granted. She never expected you to reclaim the energy she assumed would always be hers. And suddenly, she feels something she hasn't felt in a long time: uncertainty. The same uncertainty she made you feel. She starts wondering why you're not replying as fast, why you're suddenly shorter, why your energy feels different, why the conversation no longer revolves around making her feel good. She rewrites the narrative in her head, trying to understand what changed. But the answer is simple. You stopped giving effort she never wanted to match. That silence, your silence, speaks in a language louder than any text you could send. It communicates boundaries. It communicates self-respect. It communicates that you're not a digital safety net or an emotional vending machine. It shows her that you're not afraid to detach, not afraid to walk away, and not afraid to choose your peace over confusion. And here's the irony. The distance she once relied on suddenly becomes the distance she fears. She feels the shift in your tone. She senses the withdrawal. She notices the absence of the energy she once drained effortlessly. And that's when the dynamic changes forever. Not because you said anything, but because you finally stopped saying everything. Your silence becomes your power. And in that power, she begins to feel what you once felt. The weight of uncertainty, the sting of imbalance, the fear of losing someone who once cared deeply. Now let's move into the next section, the psychological reversal that happens in her mind when you stop playing the role she took for granted. The moment you stop feeding her the constant stream of attention she grew comfortable living on, something begins to unravel inside her, slowly, quietly, but unmistakably. At first, she brushes it off, telling herself you're just busy or distracted. But as the hours stretch and the energy shifts, a subtle panic sets in. She scrolls through your old messages, noticing how the dynamic has flipped. You used to be eager, now you're composed. You used to reply instantly, now you take your time. You used to initiate, now she's the one double-checking the conversation, trying to figure out where she lost you. It eats at her, because she was used to being the one in control. She was used to being the one who decided how close or distant things would feel. But your withdrawal forces her into a territory she hasn't navigated in a long time, the possibility of losing a man who genuinely cared. And here's the part that twists the knife in her ego. She didn't think she would ever have to chase you. She didn't think you'd ever shift your attention away. She didn't think her pattern of breadcrumb validation would ever stop working. But the moment you step back, the moment you choose silence over chasing, she begins replaying every moment, every message, every shift in tone. She wonders if she said something wrong, if she pushed too far, if she miscalculated. She starts feeling the same uncertainty she kept you trapped in. She starts craving the reassurance she once took from you without offering anything in return. And what makes this shift even more powerful is that you didn't punish her, guilt-trip her, or explain yourself. Your silence created a vacuum she can feel in her chest. It makes her wonder if someone else has your attention, if your interest is fading, if your heart is no longer hers to toy with. And for the first time, she realizes she doesn't have unlimited access to you. She doesn't get to hide behind the comfort of texting while keeping her real self out of reach. Your withdrawal introduces something she never intended to feel, the weight of losing a man with boundaries, standards, and discipline. A Stoic man's silence doesn't just create distance, it forces truth to surface. Now let's move into the next section. What a Stoic man actually does when he realizes she's only invested in the digital version of him. A Stoic man doesn't react with anger, desperation, or emotional theatrics. When he realizes she only wants the version of him that fits on a screen. He doesn't argue, confront, or try to convince her of his worth, because a man grounded in his value understands that genuine interest never requires persuasion. Instead, he calmly shifts his center of gravity back into his own life. He reclaims the energy he was pouring into a one-sided connection and redirects it into his goals, his discipline, his purpose. He stops waiting for her replies because he's busy building something real, something far more meaningful than scattered text bubbles. A Stoic man quietly closes the emotional faucet she once drank from freely. He sets an internal standard. If she can't show up in real life, she doesn't get the full version of me. And he lives by it without needing to announce it. His boundaries aren't loud, they're lived. He lets her messages sit unanswered for a while, not out of pettiness but out of balance. He mirrors her effort instead of exceeding it. If she gives short, he gives short. If she gives late, he gives later. If she gives nothing, he gives nothing. And slowly she starts to feel the shift, because the man who once gave her emotional certainty now offers only emotional neutrality. He becomes harder to read, harder to predict, harder to access. Not because he's playing games, but because he's done playing hers. A Stoic man doesn't punish her. He outgrows her. He doesn't cling to potential. He honors reality. He doesn't chase clarity. He creates it. He knows that consistency isn't something you beg for. It's something a woman shows willingly when she truly wants to be in your life. And the moment he realizes she avoids seeing him, he stops offering the parts of himself she hasn't earned. His value isn't negotiable. His presence isn't free. His effort has standards. And as he steps back into his power, she finally experiences something she never prepared for. The feeling of losing a man who no longer makes himself small to keep her comfortable. Now let's move into the final section, your closing message, your awakening, and the Stoic path forward. At the end of all this, there's a truth you have to carry with you. A truth that will reshape how you move through every connection from this point forward. Attention is easy, but presence is rare. Any woman can send you sweet messages. Any woman can flirt from a distance. Any woman can keep you emotionally warm while never offering anything real. But a woman who actually wants you in her life will show up. Not someday, not eventually, not when things calm down. She'll show you with her effort, her consistency, her willingness to meet you in reality, not just behind a screen. And when you finally understand that, you stop chasing the digital versions of women who don't have the courage to face you in person. You stop mistaking her words for her intentions. You stop falling for potential instead of presence. And you start valuing yourself the way a Stoic man is meant to, quietly, confidently, unshakably. Because your worth isn't measured by how much you text. It's measured by how deeply you live. And the moment you choose your value over her breadcrumbs, you step into a higher version of yourself. A version grounded in self-respect, clarity, and emotional strength. So if she loves texting but avoids seeing you, remember this. It's not your job to drag someone into your reality. It's your job to protect your peace, guard your energy, and move toward connections that actually reciprocate. And before we close, do something powerful for yourself and for every man in this brotherhood. Drop a comment saying, "I choose my peace." And if this message hit you, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to become a Stoic soldier. Your support helps build this movement, this mindset, and this discipline. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for stepping deeper into the path of the Stoic man. Now go live with strength, clarity, and silence that speaks louder than any word you'll ever send.